So welcome to the UWI FIFA CIES Sports Management online public lecture series hosted by the Department of Management Studies. Thank you for being here with us. I am Calicia Gregor, the coordinator for the UWI FIFA CIES Postgraduate Diploma in Sports Management. And we have with us Mr. Geoffrey Edwards, who is the CIES local coordinator, as well as the president of the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago. For today's lecture, we have Mr. Brent Rahim, one of our very own former national senior men's football player for Trinidad and Tobago. He will be presenting an overview on futsal and beach soccer development. Brent has over 20 years experience in the football industry, both as a player and administrator. As an administrator, most recently in the technical division and member association division of FIFA, with the responsibility for the development of football, futsal, and beach soccer within FIFA's 211 member associations. As a professional football player, he amounted an impressive 49 senior international football appearances for Trinidad and Tobago, where he also was a part of the team that qualified for the FIFA World Cup Germany 2006. In Europe, he played for Levski Sofia, Bulgaria, where he won the Bulgarian First League and Cup, as well as West Ham United in England. Under his coaching belt, he holds a UEFA B football coaching license from the English Football Association and an UEFA B futsal coaching license from the Football Association of Finland. He holds a BSc in psychology from the University of Connecticut, a master's degree in sport management and the business of football with merit from Birkbeck University of London, and the FIFA Master in Management, Law and Humanities of Sport. Before I hand over to Mr. Rahim, please ensure that your mic is muted and your video turned off during the presentation. Mr. Rahim will present first, and then we will have the question and answer session at the end of the lecture. You can either post your question in the chat, or you can use the raise hand icon, and then you'll be prompted to ask your question. The session is being recorded, which will be posted on the Faculty of Social Sciences YouTube channel. I will provide the link in the chat. So it is a pleasure to have Mr. Brent Rahim, one of our own, to lecture under the UWI FIFA CIES Public Lecture Series today. Thank you, Brent. You have the virtual floor.
So, thank you very much, Celicia, for the wonderful introduction. I think you covered all the sports very clearly and very well. I'd first like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Vincent Schatzman from the CIES, General Secretary of the CIES, also Mr. Roland Chavalino, the manager of FIFA CIES International Network, and also UWI, the Geoffrey Edwards, Program Coordinator, CIES of CIES and UWI, and also the President of the Futsal Federation of Trinidad and Tobago. I really, on a personal note, I would like to, say that, this opportunity to be able to present is always fantastic for me. Obviously I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and it's always a pleasure to have the opportunity to present and to feel as if I can give something back to football, in this case also futsal and beach soccer. It's truly an honor to have this opportunity. The last time, I was in Trinidad, actually in 2019, when I delivered together with one of my FIFA instructors, a futsal coaching course, together with Geoffrey and the Football Federation and the Futsal Federation of Trinidad and Tobago, Association of Trinidad and Tobago, sorry. And this was fantastic because I had the chance to really give back and really to help with the development of futsal really at a grassroots level, I would say. And I think that the course was exceptional, and the participants took a lot from this course. So now I'm here virtually. It would have been nice to also be there personally, but in this case virtually. So let's, without further ado, because I know today is a big day for the Champions League final, a little game. And so everybody will be keen to, like myself, to see that. So I'll try to get through the presentation on time so that, people have time to shoot off, or if they're really at home anyway, they can just switch on the television in this case. So again, just a little bit about me. Obviously, Celicia spoke a lot about it, about my master's degrees and that. But I want to also mention that, doing the FIFA master was a fantastic, is actually the master that got me the possibility to work at FIFA over the last 10 years. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity for people who really want to break into the sporting world, especially internationally. And I think effectively the reason I did it was really to get into that international environment, and it was really a massive help for me. While I was, obviously at FIFA, I was doing a lot of my coaching license, and now I've gotten to the point of my A license. So I'm still in the journey of coaching, but it's something I'm quite passionate about, and I think I'll continue to do that and continue to develop myself because I believe that, if you're working in this sport, you need to understand, what's going on the field, and they have a 360-degree understanding of football. Also, futsal and beach is important, and to continue this education process is something that I've continued to do over the years. So getting into the business, just to give you an overview of the main topics that I'll touch quickly. So first, I'll start off with the FIFA Futsal questionnaire to give you an understanding of the global situation of futsal development. Then I'll move into the role of futsal and grassroots football development. And then I'll get into benefits of futsal participation from an early age, and then futsal, a young player development tool, and then get into some futsal development programs, so linked to the questionnaire and to the areas that I thought was necessary for us to develop. After that 45 minutes, obviously we have a break for some questions, and then we can move into beach soccer. And beach soccer, I will also go into the FIFA questionnaire that we conducted to understand the global situation. And then going to the role of beach soccer in grassroots football development. So how this is the transition from beach soccer into football as well, and how these two sports modalities can work together. And then move into, again, how I developed some beach soccer development programs that could then support the areas that need to be developed in beach soccer. So that's just a quick overview, and this will be 45 minutes as well, and you'll have some time to ask questions afterwards as well. So before I start, I always like to start with a nice video. So I just have to stop sharing for a moment, just to update something in my screen. So So again, so to have this opportunity to attend this fantastic event, it's the pinnacle of any person working in futsal. I think and attending a futsal World Cup really is a tremendous and fantastic opportunity to see the game at the very highest level, the skill level, the speed of the players, the speed of thought, a lot of things that we're going to discuss about. And effectively, every player, obviously dreams to get to this point, but obviously there's a process behind that in order to arrive to a FIFA World Cup. And this one was particularly in Colombia, and and I had the chance to work very closely with this particular event, and it was fantastic to be able to attend and also to contribute in the development of futsal over the last 10 years or so, and to see so many teams develop and move forward. So now I'll move into the FIFA Futsal questionnaire, because I would like to also give you all an understanding of the framework in terms of, before going into the development of the sport, it's clear that you need to have a clear understanding of what is the situation, what is the reality of futsal on the ground within the associations in this case. And so I'll just give you a bit of a summary of the questionnaire. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it will be too much data, but there will obviously be some data we will go through quickly. So I don't have to keep you in there too long, and then we can move forward with the presentation. So to start, as you know, just to give you the framework,
this is a FIFA. Brent, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, black things on top of the presentation. If you have to close up anything on your end.
Sorry?
The bars on your presentation, the black bar on top of your presentation, yeah.
Okay. So I just stopped sharing. 1 second. Yeah. Is it better now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. So as I was saying that effectively this questionnaire obviously was done by FIFA, the collaboration with FIFA, myself, and the competitions division. And effectively, as you know, FIFA has 211 associations, and within those associations, we have 6 confederations. Yeah, and these 6 confederations, AFC, CAF, CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, OFC, and UEFA. So we have 46 members. So we started off in as an example here, in AFC, you have 46 members, 54 in CAF, 35 in CONCACAF, 10 in CONMEBOL, 11, and then 55 in UEFA. So we looked at effectively asking a question and looking to understand the responses. And so this was just to give you an overview of the response rate. So we had, out of the 211 associations that we sent this questionnaire to, we had 191 responses effectively. So just to give you an understanding. So in AFC, we had responses, 41 responses, which equated to 98% answered the questionnaire. In CAF, we had 78% out of the 54 members, which is 42 members responding. In CONCACAF, out of the 35 members, we had 34, which equated to 97 saying yes, in terms of the questionnaire itself. And then in CONMEBOL, we had 97% responding, which is 9 out of the 10 members. And in OFC, we had 100%, obviously is 11 out of the 11, so 11 members, and 98% in UEFA with the 55 members at the time. So this is just to give you an understanding of the response rates. So we move on to futsal governance, which is an important topic. So we had a series of questions to have an understanding of futsal governance. So in futsal, so for the first question was, does futsal effectively, is futsal in the statutes of the member association? We had a response of 74%. There's 141 out of 191. So this equates to 74% of the members, all the members of FIFA is saying that they have futsal. In the statutes, in the futsal committee, for futsal, do you have a futsal committee? 67% said yes, they have a futsal committee. So this equated to 128 out of the 191 that responded. Do you have a futsal department? So a dedicated department for the development of futsal or for futsal in general. And so you have 59% saying yes, they have a futsal department, which is 78 out of the 191 responding. And then obviously regarding full-time employees, you had 60% saying that they have full-time employees working within the federation. Which is important that you have full-time employees and not part-time, because obviously you need people dedicated to futsal development. And you see in the next chart, we have pie chart, you have 64%, so they have a lot more, but not a lot, they have some 4% more part-time employees effectively. And so the idea is to try to get more full-time employees in futsal, and this is part of the process of development. And then having an independent futsal federation, so a federation that is connected to the association, but it's separated. So you had 72% saying that they have an independent futsal federation operating independent of the main federation. And then in terms of marketing agencies for futsal, you have 90% saying that they have a marketing agency. So effectively, this is saying that a lot of associations use these external marketing companies to activate the competitions, for sponsorship, for all the specificities of commercialization of futsal. So they prefer to use a marketing agency to do that rather than have their marketing department within the association managing that full time. So effectively, they get a bit more, let's say, expertise from these marketing agencies that work externally to activate the event. So in terms of futsal national teams, does your federation have a futsal national team? So this was separated through men's, the senior national team, under 21, and then under 18. And then obviously for women as well, the same under 21 and under 18. So from the men's side, you have 67% said yes, that they actually have a futsal national team. Under 21, 28%, and the under 18, 17%. Yeah, 20. So the yellow shows that they are interested. So you have a significant interest that they would like to have this in place, to have these teams in place. So obviously these are areas that we still have to do a lot of development work in, because it's obviously critical that you have under 21 and under 18 competitions, because obviously these will then be feeding to the senior national team. So clearly these are areas we need to increase. On the women's side, we have 20% saying yes, that they have a futsal national team. And obviously these numbers need to increase. But this is obviously another conversation. We'll come on to that a little bit later on, why we need to see more futsal national teams. And then on the under 21 level, it goes down, as you can see, 6%, and then on the 18, 77%. So clearly we need to increase the numbers, to have much more opportunities for women to play at these levels, at the youth level, in order to again feed into the senior national team. But we will discuss that later on as well. In terms of futsal national team, the average number of games per year. So we split it again, the same: men under 20, senior under 21, and then under 18, and women the same, under 21 and under 18. So for the men, you have 8 games per year on average. Then on the 21 level, you have 4, and then on the 18, 3. On the women's side, you have 5, 4, and 3. So obviously the numbers keep going down on the chart. So effectively, what we need to do is start to increase the number of games for the under 21 and the 18, so that again, the men and girls side, you have much more opportunities for the men and the girls to play. to obviously make the senior national team much more competitive again. Because if they're not playing enough matches, you don't expect them to come and compete at the highest level when they get to the senior level. I mean, this is not rocket science, but yeah, it's clear that we need to be giving them more opportunities to play matches per year. As I said, so on the women's side, 5, 4, and 3. So, you know, we need to be at least, I would say, on the women's side, mirroring how many games per year as the men. And there's no reason that they need to be 5. But again, it depends on the number of competitions that are available for women to play. So this needs to be increased. So the creation of futsal national teams. So when did you create your first futsal national team? So this is just some information. So the oldest national teams in the 1970s, you have Bolivia, Netherlands, Brazil, Belgium. So obviously you have some powerhouses here. Obviously Brazil, we all know the powerhouses. There's a powerhouse in futsal, and then you have obviously, well, the Netherlands in the beginning, they were quite strong, but obviously a nation that's very strong in football, and they use futsal as a development tool. Futsal is massive for them. And in the 80s, you have Italy, Portugal, Russia, Spain, Paraguay, and Argentina. So, I mean, in Europe, you know, you have the big names, Portugal, Spain, obviously massive in futsal, Italy as well. Argentina, obviously just not too long ago in Colombia winning the World Cup there. And Paraguay is always a strong team. So it's just to give you an idea of the history and how far back these teams actually started and they were created. And so effectively, they have many years of experience of development. And so effectively, that's why they're so strong internationally now, because of the sheer time, you know, that they've been playing and competing and developing. So there's an important question. So women's futsal World Cup. So the question is, would your federation be interested in participating in a FIFA Women's Futsal World Cup? So this has been going around for some time now, and you can see here by the pie chart, it's 71% show that yes, they're interested. I mean, there's no surprise here. So the federations are motivated and they really want to have a World Cup. In the end, there's a decision from FIFA. But clearly giving the women an opportunity to play at the highest level is the most important thing. In the end, this will then be a catalyst for the younger age categories. So if there is a possibility for women to play at the senior competition, especially in this case, the FIFA Women's Futsal World Cup, then it will then make it more of an obligation for them, for the federations to develop the under 18 level, the under 21 level, and so on, so that there's a clear pathway to the Futsal World Cup, Women's Futsal World Cup. So this is another opportunity. So now we can get into like an important question, or important topic really, the role of futsal in grassroots futsal development, football development. Sorry. And so this is critical in the way that futsal and football work hand in hand. It's not competing one against the other. Futsal is a modality of football, and so they work hand in hand. And this is really important that we see it as a development tool. It's a game in its own right, but it's also a development tool. So we get straight into it. But first, I need to show you this video, but let me stop sharing quickly and then I will. Okay, I think it's fine.
And now something I found to remind you how it should be. When you are a kid, it's easy. You are not afraid to try, to dare. You do it just because you like it. So my advice to you is never grow up, my friends.
So effectively, yeah, the video in itself, it speaks for itself. Ronaldinho is a perfect example of a footballer that started playing futsal at a very young age, and effectively he was able to master his craft because of futsal. Sorry, and this effectively went on and helped him in his football career. And in fact, this is really what I wanted to bring across, that in the end, the most important thing is that the players have an opportunity to play futsal. And so this particular slide just highlights that, because maybe you're not seeing it, but Ronaldinho, as an example, was his birth date is in 1980, and he was registered in a futsal for a futsal club in 1991. So that he was 11 years old at the time. So it's just an example of exactly, this is not by guess that he developed these extraordinary skills that he was be able to express so many times for when he was playing for Barcelona. That this was something that started when he was 11, even before, but obviously he signed up for his first futsal team when he was 11 years old. And Kaká is the same, more or less. He's a bit younger. He was born in 1982, and in 91 he also registered for the futsal team. So he was 9 years old at the time. So he was even younger. And if you remember Kaká as well for Milan and also for Madrid, he was fantastic, obviously, with technique, and you couldn't ask for better midfielder, with his distribution, using both feet, and all of this were attributes that he developed through futsal. And then we have Marta, and Marta, obviously, well, she started a bit older. She started when she was 16. But again, Marta, obviously, the top player in the world, and then when you see her play, it's phenomenal, the technique that she has. So it's no surprise that these three players all developed their technique through futsal. Now we want to talk about Neymar, because Neymar is more recent, PSG, and this is what he had to say. Futsal had a massive influence on me when I was growing up. It's a very demanding game, and it really helped to develop my technique, speed of thought, and ability to perform moves in tight spaces. I think futsal is a fundamental part of a footballer's life. So fundamental part. So he's really driving this home, When you're out there playing, you are forced to think fast and move faster. If you lose a second, the ball will be gone. So again, the same thing. In the end, it's about the speed of thought, it's about tight spaces, and effectively, this is what Neymar is trying to get at, that in the end, futsal for him was part of his life as a footballer and not really separate. And so this is the message he's trying to give. And so I'll play this video.
saber cadê você? Eu tô guerreiro. Eu tô guerreiro. Eu tô guerreiro. Eu tô guerreiro. Só do veneno, só do veneno. Só do veneno, só do veneno. Só do veneno, só do veneno. Só do veneno. Só do veneno, só do veneno. Só do veneno, só do veneno. Só do veneno, só do veneno. De vestidinho da 25, cê vem de Deus. Pisa leve, olha frio, me vai na ginga. Me diz ainda que é Corinthians.
So this is just a little example of the type of skills that you see day in and day out of Nirma when he's playing for Paris Saint-Germain. And it's just fantastic to see him play. But clearly you can see that this is where these skills develop. You can see some of the similar moves that he executes when he plays for PSG, and you can see it right there when he was playing, you know, at 11 years old or however he was there. And it's clear that these skills were then transferred. So moving forward, as I said, you know, for me in the end, futsal is a game in its own right, but in the end, it's a development tool. And it's not a utopian solution to player development, but it definitely prepares players with numerous opportunities to experiment, to develop, to create creativity, to create imagination, everything that's needed to play at the highest level. And this is at the end, you know, a choice whether they stay in the futsal pathway, or they go to football, or they play. And many players at this age, they play both anyway. So it's just an opportunity to play on a different surface, in a different environment. And it helps because the game in itself is then helping the development of their skills. And the tight spaces that they're obligated to play in, they can't, they can't get away from it. So they need to think faster. They need to make quicker decisions. And this is, I think this is important. Again, you know, again, it's a specific environment. This is obviously a small-sided format. And the specificities of that is that they have a futsal ball, which we know that is smaller. There's a minimum amount of bounce. It stays on the ground, which is quite important. And the ball is obviously staying in play a lot longer. And this allows them to have much more touches on the ball. So it increases the contact. And by increasing the contact, the players are then improving because they touch the ball. It's not like they're on an 11-a-side pitch and one player, technical player, has the ball maybe 90% of the time and they touch the ball twice. And we sometimes see that happening. And the reality is that futsal offers that opportunity for the players to then touch the ball numerous times. Yeah, it increases competence, understanding, confidence, imagination, as I said before, which are all transferable to football. And this was actually a study that was done on small sided. This is not a futsal study, but it was a study done on small sided formats, 8v8 game and the 4v4 game in football. And basically this study that was done in Manchester, UK, showed that there was an increase by number of passes. So they found that in comparison to the 8v8 game, a 4v4 format, there was the number of passes increased by 135%. Scoring attempts increased by 260%. Number of goals scored by 500%. Number of one-on-one encounters, 225%. Number of dribbling skills, tricks increased 280%. So this just shows that the smaller the format, there's more opportunities to do all of these things that develop the players. So if you then take this and you do a study of futsal and 11v11, then you probably will get a comparison that is even higher because of the distances, you know, in football and futsal. And we'll come to that as well. And again, as I said, futsal is unique. It's important that the core principles of the modality is retained, and that coaching educators use these specific attributes to futsal in their development process, in their training sessions, and do not dilute it effectively. So try to use, the right equipment, as an example, the right ball, and because if you try to use a football, obviously you know what will happen. And you try to create a similar environment, an environment that is futsal. It's not football played on a court. It's futsal. So we need to really implement the specificity of futsal into the game and use the principles of futsal when we're training our young players. I think this is important. And we don't say, okay, let's just play futsal, but we're not playing futsal actually. We're playing 4v4 football or 8v8 football or whatever. So this is critical. And obviously the benefits, the benefits of futsal, and I just want to pull out a few because my background in psychology, I think like some specific points. So builds character, improves self-esteem, increase confidence, develops leadership skills, improves concentration because yes, you have to execute things faster, develops internal resilience. So yes, you have to be resilient in a futsal match because it's tough, fast, you don't have much time, and you have engenders respect, reduces depression, develops creativity, social inclusion, improves and encourages decision-making. Obviously, decision-making is critical because you have to decide things much faster than in football, much faster, and develops transferable skills for life, which is most important because this is what we want to do for young people. They don't need to be professional, but they could be whatever they want to be after, but they have skills that they can then use for their life. So futsal is a young player development tool. So we did effectively some research on this, or I did some research on this, and the reality is football, as you know, is an 11-11 game with 22 players. The average dimensions is 60 meters by 100. So you have a total average surface area of 60 by 100, which is 6,000 meters squared. This is the surface area of a football pitch. And in futsal, you have 5v5, 10 players, futsal pitch 20 by 40. Total surface area, 20 by 40, you have 800 meters squared. So when you divide 6,000 meters squared by 800, you get 7.5. So what we're saying here effectively, so in a football pitch, you see, you don't have much space. Your space is, you have much more space, sorry, because the pitch is obviously much bigger. You could see it here clearly. And this is a futsal pitch on a football field. And you see how the space is reduced, but look how much more space you have here. So if you were to replicate this, so as you have 7.5 futsal pitches, which could be put inside of a football pitch, of one football pitch, is equivalent to 37 versus 37. So you understand the reduction of space that you have here. Yeah. And this is critical. This is critical for futsal. And then again, if you look at the average space per player, so in an 11-11 game, you take the surface area of a football pitch and you divide it by the number of players, 22 players, and you get 272 meters squared per player. So this is the space that you have per player to play in, right? When you compare it to futsal, 800 meters squared, a futsal pitch, divided by 10 players, you get 80 meters squared per player. So you understand the reduction in space that you have. And effectively, this is where players learn because they have, as I said before, this space limitations. And this creates this creativity, spatial awareness, and effectively better players. So futsal as a development tool improves decision-making, creativity, cope in tight spaces, imagination, inventiveness, spatial awareness, defense and attack, goalkeeper distribution needs to be excellent, bilateral technical development, and ball retention. The game and its environment are the teacher. So effectively, the players learn from the game. we don't have to do anything. We just need to get them there playing in this environment. And these are all the attributes that they will develop and learn from the game, not even from our intervention. So this is important. So quickly, just to give you an understanding of some of the development programs so I have 5 development principles for futsal, right? So these are programs that I developed and worked on. So first, a game that is a complement to football. Encouraging the game as a player development tool, sustainable growth via development of professional leagues and competitions, support the development of players, coaches, and referees, ensure equality for men and women in futsal participation. So these are the 5 now development programs: consultancy, education, coaching and refereeing, futsal grassroots, skills for all, competition and league development, and legacy program. So I'll go through quickly some of these programs to have an understanding. So the consultancy is really just to get into the creation, planning, implementation, monitoring, creating a long-term development plan for an association, for as the case may be. And obviously with an expert like myself dealing with competition development, administrative issues, futsal coaching, registration, club development, and also thinking about the right types of equipment and teaching materials that are needed. In terms of education, again, it's just looking at coaches and referees. What are the necessities, that the federation, they have a commitment for development of futsal, and that, the participants in the course can then, get involved in futsal. So in the end, is to try to get the coaches to a level that they could then teach the game in the right way, and and understand the regulations, the rules, and the method of coaching. So this is important, and it's also for the referees as well in terms of the regulations and of the game. And the grassroots festivals this for me is a fantastic project, because also it gives you an opportunity to get kids out, to get them to understand the game more, to enjoy futsal, to touch the ball, and this can be done in the school environment, where you can promote cooperation with governments, with educational authorities, and so effectively this is an opportunity to showcase the sport, but also an opportunity for players, for kids, to really, girls and boys, to just have fun. And that's the point. We want them to have fun, we want them to discover the game, and we want them to fall in love with it. And so this is really what Skills for All is. And so I just have a video that I would like to show you. The course that we did in that.
As a group, we will seek to learn and understand what futsal really is, what it's about. Is your understanding the same as perhaps our understanding and the broader game as a whole? But importantly, we will also consider how futsal is a strategic development tool for the development of young football players.
So that's just a little video of the course that we did, the FIFA course we did in Trinidad. And as I said before, this was quite successful, and and I understand that it was a catalyst for futsal being played in schools, and so this is important. And then we have competition and league development. So again, futsal competition and leagues are critical. As I said before, through the research that we did, effectively, if you don't have competitions, then really the teams, you don't have motivation to develop teams, because they have nowhere to play. They have no competitions to play in. And so there are no platforms for player development, coaches, and referees. So it's fundamental that we can structure competitions and leagues. This is critical, fundamental. And then a legacy. I mean, in the end, around a World Cup or a major event, a host country is a fantastic time to do development activities. And I think because at this point, you have all the stakeholders together. You have, the sponsors, you have coaches, you have referees, you have parents, you have just fans. And this is a time where you can really launch a project. And I think, it's always a fantastic opportunity during a major event to try to implement coaching activities or grassroots activities, and really you get a fantastic response from the people attending, because there's a lot more motivation when you have so many people involved. So this is an example of how we can use major events to develop the sport, and how we've done that, and how I've done that a lot over the years at FIFA working, and also we've seen a lot of benefits from doing it like this. Another example here I'll show. So that was just a quick example of one of the projects we did in Colombia, and again, futsal activity around the FIFA World Cup at the time in 2006. And again, this was a launch of various activities in schools all over the country. And again, as you have the World Cup going on, people are much more interested. There's a lot more interest in doing activities, and it is challenging, but in the end, there's a lot more benefit than just doing a regular course or festival on its own without something else going on around it. So I think this was fantastic. So now I can open the floor. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot. So yeah.
Hi, Brent. I have a question in the chat. A Futsal World Cup for women is planned. If yes, when would it begin?
Yeah, well, actually, it's a good question. I mean, I think the end, I think, the questionnaire was sent out. The federation said that they were interested in that. It's clear that we have a lot of interest in doing one, but it's still, let's say there's still a lot of maybe discussions, and I would say that FIFA will be discussing that internally, and it's something that I'm not in a position to say when. I think it's just a process at the moment that I think that it's clear that it's needed, and that there's a lot of discussion going on about having it. So there's obviously a lot of stakeholders involved in that, and then at the end of the day, it's FIFA's decision to decide when would be the appropriate time to have one. So actually I can't say exactly when, but I would say that there was probably still a lot of discussions about with the various stakeholders about doing it, And I mean, you have to understand as well that, FIFA would look at the worlds and understand the development of women's futsal on a world level. We see that, yes, there's interest, but I suppose you have to understand that there are teams that have the capacity to play at a World Cup, because, if you try to go too early, I think that effectively you may have matches that are with huge score lines, and I think that's not what the idea is, So I think it's important that they understand where the level of women's football is at the moment, and then when is the right time, then they need to decide that when the deeper analysis is done on the level, I would say, because you have obviously some continents that are very strong in women's futsal, in Asia, as an example, is very strong. So I think that needs to be done, and I suppose FIFA is doing that, and then they will take a decision on that at the right time. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, so there's another question. Are there upcoming coaching education programs now? Kieran, is that for international, or are you going to talk local? You want to take your mic?
Right, pleasant good afternoon. I hope everyone is hearing me.
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Right. Greetings, Coach Rahim, Brent Rahim, former national player. Happy to see that a former player who understands the system and understands the importance and the necessity of having this type of sports introduced to our football, which to me is closer to our philosophy, mindset, and style of football. So I would like to know if there are local coaching programs in place so that all potential coaches, all coaches interested in expanding their knowledge on futsal, which could better help their players. Is there anything coming up soon?
Breaking up a bit, but I will try to. I think I understood what you're getting at. I mean, in the end, FIFA offers courses. These courses are to develop coaches. I mean, in the end, the FIFA sends an instructor, and this instructor is meant to assist with the development of coaches locally. But also, I think the focus also has changed a little bit in that there are courses that are coming out probably from the federation side, and FIFA is also supporting directly from the federation side, where they are seeing that there's a necessity to develop coaches for this particular modality, and they may have presented different projects, programs, and then it's up to them to then apply, and then FIFA will assess that and decide whether they would support it, or obviously if they think that it's a project that it's well planned. I'm sure the federation is doing that, and also as the sport develops, then obviously there's a need for ensuring that your coaches are prepared and they have the opportunity to upskill themselves. And the reality is that having a course at a FIFA level is always something that's good, and that can give you more information and latest information as well on the development of the sport, for sure. So I would say that,
Okay, great. Hope to see them soon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask Jeffrey to take the mic to answer a few of the questions that's in the chat.
Good afternoon, everyone. For this, I would be, are you all hearing me? Khaleesi, are they hearing me? Are you hearing me, guys?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I will be answering, I will be taking off my CIES coordinator hat and putting on the hat as president of the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago to further answer the question posed by Mr. Kern Cupid. In 2019, as Brent would have mentioned in his presentation, I think Mr. Cupid would have come in a little late, is that the TTFA, or I should say the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago, through the TTFA would have requested a coaching course, and Brent would have been here along with Mr. Graham Dell. Obviously, after 2019, we would have gone through the pandemic, but even during the pandemic, the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago would have worked with Futsal Solutions, which is headed by presently the Finland's national head coach, Mr. Sergio Gargelli, to put on online coaching education courses. Since we have returned to play activity, basically the country is back to running, we will be working with the TTFA once again to be able to seek another coaching course for coaches, both in terms of CONCACAF and FIFA. So we'll be doing that. That is part of our strategic plan. But as I said before, we did not stop coaching education because we would have done our online with a private entity through Futsal Solutions. Another question was asked as to I saw secondary primary schools in terms of leagues, because that was a very important pillar mentioned by Brent, extremely important. We are in discussions with the Ministry of Education as regards to having futsal in schools, noting that we would have been in schools as an association through our Let's Play Futsal Caravan, where we go in schools during the lunchtime period with permission granted by the necessary principals to be able to have that. And now we are in the final stages of formalizing that process through the Ministry of Education. We are happy to have that partnership coming on stream by the beginning of the next academic year. So obviously, in terms of needing coaches, we definitely need that. And from that activity, we expect to be able to have competitions and leagues, but not taking up too much of Brent's time because we have to move on. Feel free to contact us, and I'll put my number and email address in the chat. Feel free to contact us to get more information as regards to what the association is doing, noting that our strategic plan mirrors a lot of what Brent has spoken to. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. We can move on to beach soccer now, Brent.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. So we will move forward. So beach soccer development. So I use this photo as really just because it speaks for itself. Beach soccer in a sense, in itself, I mean, when I started working in beach soccer, let's say I didn't ever work at beach soccer at the highest level. So it was really an introduction to beach soccer at a World Cup. And it's obviously beautiful. From a marketing, if you're a marketing person, I mean, you can't ask for a better product, let's say, you know, because you have these bicycle kicks, overhead kicks, that are absolutely fantastic. And you can see next to the Adidas, any sponsor would love to have a photo like this next to their sponsor. So beach soccer in itself is a beautiful sport to watch, a modality, and it's also the fact that you can use these wonderful photos to promote it. And, you know, and when you see it at the highest level, at the FIFA World Cup, it is fantastic to see the athleticism of the players and that they're able to do these type of acrobatic moves in this. I mean, in the sand, a lot of times it's hot. I mean, I've had the chance to play in the Swiss League, and let me tell you, this sport is tough. I mean, obviously I was a bit older, so it was definitely hard on my body. But in the end, you know, I got to really love it because, you know, it's just fantastic to play and to watch, you know, especially when you see top players like the captain of the Tahitian team. And he also had the chance to, you know, I mean, if you think about Tahiti playing against Brazil, and that was in Portugal. I mean, it's unbelievable that a country as big as Brazil playing a match, elimination match in the World Cup against Tahiti, and they are a force really in beach soccer. So it's a fantastic story behind Tahiti as well. How they've grown and how they've developed beach soccer to the point that they're beach soccer crazy country, and the players are like they're superstars effectively, because they know they usually get to the final stages of the World Cup as small as they are. And so I think this also creates a fantastic opportunity for countries that are small, that in football it is also quite difficult for them to get to, like, let's say the final stages of the FIFA World Cup in football. But they can actually do it in beach soccer. It's possible, you know, it's possible. So it gives you another opportunity. And this is the beauty of it. So I want to show this video. I think I'm still just log out quickly to see that. Yeah. So, I mean, this video epitomizes beach soccer and the beauty of it. I mean, I had a chance to work as assistant general coordinator at this event in Portugal. And again, it was an extraordinary competition. Obviously, Portugal winning the World Cup. but it was so fantastic that I remember in the final, people were lining. People couldn't even get in. It was packed. It was the stadium wasn't big enough for the people that wanted to enter. And it reminds me of it brings back so many great memories to have participated in this particular event. And as I said before, as you can see on the overhead cakes, and it's spectacular. And for any sponsor, for any brand, it's fantastic that you can activate your brand using beach soccer as a background. I mean, I don't think any sponsor would say no. I mean, really. And so this is a fantastic opportunity. So like I did with futsal, I think it's important going forward to understand a little bit. Now, I wouldn't go into so much depth as I went into with futsal. With this questionnaire, is just to give you a little bit of an idea. So it's, again, looking at FIFA's 211 associations, and then going into the members of each confederation, and seeing who's really involved, who's really active in grassroots, active in general in beach soccer, to have understanding of the numbers that are interested or active in beach soccer. So again,
I have you to stop sharing and reshare.
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
No, I'm still seeing it.
Okay, 1 second. Yep, is it better?
Yes.
Okay. So in AFC again, we start off with AFC 47 members. So looking at national teams, so we have, let's say, 23 senior national teams, and grassroots in regards to activities, we had 24 activities in grassroots, and in general, in total, we had 26 active activities in terms of so I want to say that AFC, in terms of activities in general, there were 26 activities, associations active, okay, in AFC, in beach soccer. In CAF, with 53 MAs, you have 19 national teams, the senior national teams, and grassroots activities, you have 23, and there's 35 out of the 53 members, you have 35 active. In CONCACAF, with the 35 MAs, you have, in the Confederation, you have 13 national teams, 16 grassroots activities, and 17 active. Common Ball, 10 MAs, 10 national teams. So this is like all of the MAs are active. So there's 100%. Common Ball is obviously very, very active in beach soccer. And this is normal. And this is why you have the top teams coming out there. In OFC, 11 members, you have 5 national teams, 4 grassroots activity, and 5 active MAs. In UEFA, 55 MAs and 35 senior national teams, 38 grassroots activities, and 38 active MAs in beach soccer. So in all, you have, out of the 211 associations under FIFA, you have more or less 131 active MAs in beach soccer. This just to give you an idea. So now I go to the role of beach soccer in grassroots football development. So again, this photo as well, I wanted to just touch on it because again, this is the skill that epitomizes beach soccer. And young players, when they have this opportunity to do overhead kicks and that, I mean, it's the best time because they have no fear. They have no worries that they will injure themselves if they fall, because obviously they're falling on sand. So this photo shows really, the beauty of the sport, and that young players, kids, grassroots players, beach soccer is a fantastic opportunity to develop this particular skill that is critical for beach soccer, which is the overhead kick. Yeah. Again, so some of the main attributes, obviously, playing barefoot is important. I remember me as a player as well playing in Maracas. I mean, playing barefoot effectively gives you the opportunity to really touch the ball. I remember, if I go way back, my first coach, national team coach, Bertha Sinclair, used to tell me that I had a really good touch of the ball. And that touch, I think, is really the development of that touch came from really, touching the ball constantly. And I think beach soccer really allows you, because you're not wearing boots and you have the opportunity to really touch the ball with your feet, you develop a feel for the ball. And I think this is also a really important thing, that you have this ability to touch it. And for young players playing beach soccer barefooted, it is really helping with the feel of the ball, the touch, to have that soft touch when they collect the ball, and to have that touch when they need to flick it up. So all these attributes that are important for beach and for football, I think this is critical. So again, the distinctive element is the playing surface, clearly playing in sand and playing in different types of sand as well is also challenging, because you can go to Brazil and the sand is heavy and you can't even move. So effectively, you really need to, you have to play in the air. And so the playing surface is a big part of it, because clearly running in the sand with a ball that is thick sand, that is not like hard sand, is very different, so you have to, your skill set has to be adaptable to the conditions. And the playing surface is a fantastic, wonderful opportunity for players to develop these technical abilities, because they have a necessity to do it, because you can't effectively run all the time with the ball in the sand, because you just physically will be exhausted. And so players discover that, and they realize, okay, now we need to find easier ways to conserve energy. And because of that, then they start running less and trying to pass more. And this is where as well, the environment encourages the technical development. And this is where I think the surface has a big part to play in this. And again, it's an exciting alternative to football, because, as you know, if you coach kids every day in football, every day they go in the park and they play football, and one day you say, okay, this session we're going to play beach soccer. All of them will be like, wow, they'll be fun, they'll be thrilled. And this also motivates them, because they have an opportunity to play in a different environment. And with kids, usually, when you bring sand, it's like fun time. So I mean, I don't think there's anything else that can motivate them more. So in order to motivate your players as well, sometimes it's good to take them away from football if they're playing football, and say, let's go and play beach soccer this week. We go and play on a beach soccer pitch, and give them that opportunity to do something alternative from football. And then they can go back on the football pitch and play football. And there you would see that they would have developed other skills, because of the difficulty that they encounter playing in the sand itself. And it creates more creativity, it gives them more confidence, and then so they become better footballers, actually. So again, the benefits for young players, I think it's enormous, and if you've ever gone to Brazil and you've walked along Rio, you would see like endless kids, endless people playing beach soccer. And there's no surprise that they're all technically gifted, because they can play with the ball in the sand for hours, and so this is the advantages of it. And obviously, as I said before, the challenges that it presents, and this is not rocket science in the end. It presents challenges in terms of dribbling, because if the sand is very thick, it's not a hard flat surface; it's a thick sand that you can't really run too much. Dribbling becomes even more difficult. But then again, it makes you a better dribbler, because if you could dribble in the sand, then when you take that skill to the football pitch, you're even a better dribbler because of the difficulty of doing it in the sand. Passing as well, or shooting on goal is the same, because you have to have more accuracy. You need to, obviously, passing the ball on the surface is very difficult. Actually, at the highest level, players shoot the ball into the sand to create a deflection to score, to obviously to trick the goalkeeper effectively from the deflection. But again, passing on the sand is difficult, but again, it will develop players' accuracy to try to make a pass straight, or they will learn that in order to make the pass 100% more or less, or not 100%, but a higher percent, would be easier to flick it up and make the pass. Then you know for sure it will get where it needs to go. Obviously, when you play along the surface, there's always a possibility for the ball to change direction. And this makes it obviously much more difficult. And again, as I said before, shooting on goal, you shoot the ball into the sand, it creates a deflection, ball goes in the goal. So it's another opportunity to do something different, to try a different skill, or you need to flick the ball up to shoot it, because if you shoot it with the ball in the sand, you may not connect to the ball the way you should. So flicking it up creates a cleaner strike of the ball with your instep. So these are the opportunities that it creates for young players when they play beach soccer. Excuse me. And some other attributes, obviously, good balance and coordination. Again, running in the sand. I mean, if you don't have good balance, it's impossible. So what it does is that for players that maybe have problems, let's say with their balance or the coordination, like me when I was growing up, when I was really young, coaching in Kenny Lai coaching school, I remember Kenny Lai told me I need to develop my legs, and I went with a medicine ball and I went running up a hill where I lived, and this in itself helped my quads and my hamstrings and my calf muscles develop, and I became much stronger. But again, if you're playing in sand and you're playing in the beach, this naturally develops your legs, and again, it will develop your balance. It will develop, if you have stronger legs, obviously you have better balance and better coordination. Obviously, you're running in the sand, it's undulating, and you have the possibility to develop your coordination skills. And obviously, that's coming to point 2, you have better coordination skills and better reaction speed. Again, it is a small-sided game, so you have to react quite quickly because you have people pressing very hard. So you need to be reacting quite quickly because you have tight spaces, you have specific rules that forces you to think quickly, and so you have to react quickly. Like it's said in football, when you receive a ball, you should have at least 3 or 4 passes in your mind. In beach, it's quite the same because you need to you receive the ball, you have a reduced amount of space, and effectively you need to think, okay, I don't have many options here, but I need to know them, otherwise I'm going to lose the ball. So if you are receiving it and you don't have these options in your mind already, you've already lost the ball. So I think this reaction of speed is important. Also reaction of thought. Speed is meaning also speed running and also speed of thought. And again, for young players, it's less painful to fall on sand. So this creates this, if you tell young players, okay, we're going to have a session of diving headers. Some of them, depending on the ground, they wouldn't be too thrilled. Maybe if it's a rainy day and they could dive in the water, probably. But if it's not, they probably may not be too keen to dive if the ground's hard. I mean, this is quite clear. But beach soccer, if you say we're going to have diving headers or something like this, they would probably love it, because they have a chance to dive in the sand. So once the sand is soft, obviously. But yeah, this creates a possibility to do things. And again, as the photo shows, overhead kicks, they tend to be more confident to do it, or less fear because they know, okay, we're in the sand. If I fall, I have some cushion, so it won't be so bad. So again, it creates this environment where kids really having fun and they can experiment and do side kicks, volleys, bicycle kicks, scissors, whatever they want, they can do it. And this, again, creates a learning environment for them. So this photo, again, it just epitomizes what I was saying. But the reality is that these skills that these young players can learn in beach soccer, this can then be transferred to football. And this game, I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo was playing for Madrid. I mean, everybody remembers this goal. I mean, and really, this goal is a beach soccer goal. Because, I mean, it's so perfect, the technique is unbelievable. The perfection of the technique. And I wouldn't be surprised that Cristiano, when he was quite young, he was playing a little bit of beach soccer for sure, that he had the opportunity to play beach, futsal as well. And this also helped him to develop, because he can do this technique with his eyes closed almost, really. And I mean, again, there's no surprise that Portugal is a powerhouse in beach soccer as well. Portugal is a powerhouse because Portugal, they develop beach soccer at a young age. There are lots of leagues, competitions for girls, boys in the schools, and effectively, this is developing the player's ability to do these kind of, in this kind of environment, in a Champions League match. Cristiano is able to do this and score a fantastic goal that we will never forget. So this is what I'm trying to say, that these skills that they're learning from a very tender age can be the catalyst for them. If they go on to play football at the very highest level, they can then execute it because they have the possibility, they have the tools in their bag to then execute. And this clearly shows that. So moving on to, so linking effectively the questionnaire and where there possibly are areas that need work, need development. We saw grassroots, we saw some of the national teams, the active MAs that are active in beach, but there are fundamental areas that always need to develop in order to develop any modality. And in this case, beach, the importance is having top coaches and referees, but coaches also that understand not only beach, how to coach beach at the highest level, beach soccer at the highest level, but also understanding what are the techniques and what is needed at the youth level, at the grassroots, the very 6 to 12 age group, and then the youth level, and then the elite level. They really need to understand that transition from just having fun to then creating a bit more formative understanding of the game, organization, and this and that, and then moving them into the elite level. Then I also created a manual along with more than 100 videos, which was effectively done to support the coaches in terms of, you know, from the grassroots level right up to, so it's a manual that can be used by everyone. It depends on the players in front of you. So you can then adapt that manual. So I will come on to that as well, explain a little bit about the manual and videos. And then beach soccer consultancy, again, to help with the rollout, the implementation of a long-term development plan. So not just one competition, but how you can implement beach soccer from grassroots and the different activities that you need to have in place in order to have a competitive beach soccer team at the senior level to then compete to play at the Beach Soccer World Cup. So that would include the next point, having festivals, which is an introduction to beach soccer, to getting kids knowing about the sport, excited about the sport, and then creating the pathways for them to get to the highest level. This is what is important. Then I also worked on the creation of an instructors, so a pool of instructors that could instruct instructors and also instruct coaches. And this was also important for the further development of the game, because you have lots of people who coach, but you didn't have anybody able to instruct. So we need to have people with the ability to instruct as well. So they may have a lot of experience of coaching, but they need to then take that knowledge and turn it into an instructor. And that's a different skill set. It's about communication. It's about being able to observe and to take decisions and to correct and to help, you know. So other skill sets that are similar to a coach, but at a different level. And then you have around the major events like the FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup, a legacy program, which again is trying to put all these different projects or programs into one umbrella and deliver it to a country that is organizing a major event and then wanting to implement a development program, and this being a catalyst. So in terms of courses which I've done, like with Futsal all over the world, over 500 courses I've organized with 40 or so instructors, pool of instructors that I've worked with over the last 10 years. And effectively it was to increase the number of quality domestic coaches. I mean, in the end, you know, FIFA can only send an instructor, but in the end, at the domestic level, it's important that we are developing our coaches, you know, and we have a plan, a structure to develop our coaches. So this is an area that you know, I've worked on and trying to create programs to develop domestic coaches with content, with videos, and this is important. And to create sustainable programs, training programs, so that it's something that is ongoing and it's not just a one-off course and then that's it, but it's a continuity of education. So coaches have an opportunity to always go and upscale themselves and get better, and they're always shooting to be better. And we need to provide them with this opportunity. Obviously, again, increasing the number and level of domestic competition. This is important. Again, if we don't have competitions domestically, then again, coaches, referees really don't have the possibility to use the knowledge that they've obtained from the courses. And this is also critical. And again, this can be combined with a grassroots festival. So we can have a festival which is based on just having fun. And we have coaches that are grassroots coaches, for instance, on football, but explain to them, for example, the specificities of beach soccer and what is needed in a grassroots beach soccer activity, which is different from football. So how do you train grassroots players in beach soccer? And this is what I've tried to implement. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the manual. And so this is a content that I developed, this manual and USP. And so effectively, this manual is focused a lot on the training sessions, and obviously to have a document that you can see all the sessions. You can plan your session, and then you have videos to show you how the session is planned. And the exercises I said before are adaptable depending on the skill set, the fitness level, ages, and abilities of the players in front of you, and focus obviously on the organization of the training session, because organization is really important to ensure that you have a successful session, that your session is well structured with an objective, and that you follow that right through your session. And this manual effectively gives you a 360-degree understanding of training and coaching methods on and off the pitch, and using teaching material by instructors, or it could be used by instructors or by coaches. So I'm just going to come out for a second just to give you, because effectively I created an offline tool interface so that, for instance, if you're traveling to remote parts of when I travel to remote parts of the world, I don't need internet connection in order to present the content. So I think it's very useful, because sometimes you don't have good internet connection and you can't present the information, but this is totally offline. So I'll just come off, stop sharing for a moment just to connect with the content. Let me see here 1 second.
Hi, Brent. Are you sharing something now?
Sorry?
Are you sharing now?
Yeah.
No, we're not seeing anything. We're seeing you.
No.
No.
Okay. Let me share again. You see now?
Yes.
Okay.
This material will be used as a teaching tool to assist coaches from all around the world, showing coaches how to do it perfectly. Specific technical skills of tactical and of conditional physical training. Not only the book, but also having the DVD with me, I could show coaches how to do the exercises, understand how to coach, what are the techniques in beach soccer that are very important, how is the organization on the field, how we do something. You have to know and be able to do all technical skills that beach soccer requires. This DVD is going to then have enough information and enough exercises that will help the coaches to have a better visual take of what it is we would like to develop through the manual.
So just to give you a quick overview of it, I won't go into all the exercises, but so we split this. I mean, this was done together with Angelo Chavinzi of Switzerland, Ramiro Amarelli of Spain, Claude Barabé of France, and Diego Monserrat from Uruguay, and myself. So we developed this content, and we divided it into skills, like technical skills. And then you have goalkeeping training, tactics, and fitness training, right? So in terms of the technical skills, I'll give you an example of what this looks like. So like for scissors kicks and side kicks, sideways. So that was an example of some technical skills there. Now I could look at a bit of the goalkeeping training. Let's see. Playing with the So that was goalkeeping training, and an example, obviously, of the World Cup activities and goalkeeping training. And then we focused a bit on tactics, so understanding tactical training as well. So I can show you one on changing the speed of play, the rhythm of play.
Go, a little bit. And stop, come back and rest, okay. A little bit. Go, Kevin, a little bit. And stop, come on, stop. Okay, great. Go! A little bit, 2 meters. Good, calm, good. Go! Good, Angel! Good. Good. Perfect. At the end. The first movement, yes. Right now, Mateo, yes. Play and go. Come on, always come back. Calm, run with ball. Don't run. Calm. Again. You can pass. Calm. Okay, again with Marlon. Okay, good. Calm, again. Perfect. Run. Good. Good, calm. Good. Don't risk the ball. Good. Keep the middle. Good. Good. Slow. By me. Slow. Back. Go, Angel, go. Good. Go. Come on. Good. Dribbling. Okay. Calm. Run with ball. Stop and run. Good. Perfect. Mateo, same. Open. Kevin, go with Mateo. Go with Mateo a little bit. Go with Mateo. A little bit. Keeper. Go. Sack. Think about it. Think. Okay, with Lava. Go with Lava. Go. Good. And run back. Good, left.
So, and for last but not least, fitness. So you can look at an example of explosive strength.
Okay, next. And go. Up. Good. Come on. Come on.
So that's just to give you an idea of the main areas that we focus on, which are critical for the development of coaches and obviously players as well, and instructors. So as I said, technical skills, the fundamental skills that are necessary, goalkeeping training, because goalkeepers in beach soccer are like the number 10, they're critical for starting the attack. They need to have excellent distribution, vision, everything. So, and then tactics, again, important, and fitness. I mean, in beach soccer, fitness is fundamental because, yeah, you're running in sand. So if you're not fit, you have no chance. So this is reality. Okay, so I just stop sharing and go back to the presentation. So just bear with me 1 second. Be able to see, okay?
You have to stop and reshare.
Stop and reshare again. Is it better?
Yes, good to go.
Okay, thank you. So moving on from there, now we're looking at the beach soccer consultancy. Again, so this is quite a lot of the core work that I'm doing at present. So obviously launching and promoting and increasing beach soccer is important, and involving all stakeholders. So as I said before, trying to get the marketing department involved, to try to get sponsors involved, to try to get the department of competitions, to get technical involved, so that you need all the different departments in order to create a plan that is possible to implement a development project. So having all the necessary stakeholders is critical. Again, this is an opportunity, as I was saying before. Beach soccer provides, as I said, in the example of Tahiti, when I went to the World Cup in 2013, it was. Yeah, I mean, they had a massive plan in terms of what they wanted to do for beach soccer. And they used the World Cup as a catalyst. And obviously now here we are talking about Tahiti as a powerhouse in beach soccer. So it's possible, but again, working on it with a plan as to how to roll it out, how to develop it, how to market it, how to create competitions at the youth level, how to create competitions at the senior level. So all these elements need to be brought together in order to create now the next point, a development plan that is long-term. So not a one-off competition, but a plan that can be carried on depending on whoever is there. I mean, it could be me, it could be someone else, but they can come in into the organization, and there is a plan that is sustainable. This is important. So it's not something that's just for 2022, but it's looking at the future, next 4 years. We want to qualify, or we want to win the World Cup. I mean, it depends on the objectives, on the vision of the organization. And then obviously then is to identify priorities. So understanding, depending on where you are in your development process, where are the main priorities? Is it that you need to look at the facilities? Is that you don't have the right facilities to develop the sport? So for beach soccer, they have lots of countries that have, lots of beaches. As you know, in the Caribbean, we're blessed with beaches. So we have a natural resource, and now can we use that resource to create opportunities for young players to play on a consistent level. You could also create an artificial area, in a park or whatever. I mean, it's up to you what kind of investment you want to make. But creating the right environment is obviously important if you want young players to develop. They need to be in the right environment. So maybe that is one priority that we can focus on and develop a strategy to implement that. And again, we try to always, I think it's important that you link courses or festivals or activities around a particular consultancy. So if I travel to a country to provide a consultancy service, if I can organize together with the association or the organization an activity around the consultancy visit, this also is valuable because then you get, again, all the stakeholders involved. And as I said before, I think this is critical always. Again, so the grassroots festivals, again, grassroots 6 to 12 years old. One modality. This is part of the football family, football pyramid. Again, there's a possibility to again, as I said, to give girls and boys the opportunity to play. This was an example of us organizing, or me organizing a festival in Paraguay during the World Cup. And again, the players had the opportunity to participate on the actual World Cup pitch. So they were able to go there and play. And this was an opportunity for them that they would never forget. And it also was a launch of a schools project. So these 100 kids or so then went back to their different primary schools, secondary schools, and then they were able to go right into a program that was already developed. So again, this was a catalyst. It was an opportunity for them to play. I mean, do some sessions, some drills on the beach soccer pitch, World Cup pitch. And again, these are memories that will last for them. And if they then think about, I want to be the next top beach soccer footballer beach soccer player, for Paraguay, they have this vision that they were playing on the actual beach soccer field. So again, they have this possibility to dream, to think, okay, I can reach to that possibility. So this is what we try to do, or what they try to do by having these activities around a World Cup or a major event in beach soccer. So let me just show you another example of
There's a demonstration by Eddie from the States. Previously, he was from Germany. He was a FIFA instructor in World Cup. And you'll notice that the kids probably are from 6 till 11 here. And it's not a coaching session. It's a session where they're actually playing soccer on the beach, and he'll gradually progress it through. Let's get them interested. Let's get them excited about kicking a round ball on the beach, basically.
The practical aspect was fantastic because we had the chance to go on the pitch and work with the children, and we could see the enthusiasm of each child, coming out and being on the sand, playing barefoot. So, I mean, it's very electric, so the kids want to play it.
It's also to inspire people and to share what we can do at the youngest age, like yes, fun activity, discover the game.
How important to deal with different age categories, and the most important thing is to look after the grassroots and youth football.
Well, I think it's interesting because when you look at young boys starting to play, it gives an insight how you could go home and organize such a thing in your own country.
Yeah, the coaching today is excellent. This is the first grassroots training session I saw. Yeah, and I think in China we must follow this way.
All children, first of all, are enjoy down south. That's the most important thing.
What I do, I see. I used to work with the kids before, and I see this was a great idea to work with the kids with the beach soccer.
On a fait des exercices, on a appris à tirer, on a appris à passer, on a appris à dribbler, on a fait beaucoup de choses. Et je reviendrai.
C'était bien, on a fait beaucoup de choses. Et puis, même si on a perdu au match, c'était bien quand même.
Bien. C'était bien, on a fait des petites activités, j'ai marqué 2 buts.
So then that activity was done around the World Cup in Tahiti. And yeah, we had the chance again to do, or I had the chance to do this activity around the event, and it was fantastic. And the kids, as you see, had lots of fun. In terms of instructors, again, instructor seminars are important, again, to develop coaches, to develop instructors themselves. Again, this is a chance to look at new material. As I presented before, this was material that we developed, and this helped with all the courses that are delivered all over the world, and 500 or so, and so it increased the capacity of the coaches, and is also an opportunity to exchange information and experiences, because all you go to different corners of the world and the experience is quite different, but you can obviously learn from these experiences. And we try to cooperate with all the cooperation with the confederations is good, and to try to again combine competitions with development where possible. And I think that this is always critical, that you have competitions as an example of the event at a high level, and you have all the people, the coaches, the parents, everyone there with the opportunity to see, and the coaches have a chance to go there and analyze what they see as well. So it's not just to go there and sit as a fan, but also to go there and analyze what they see and how they can improve themselves, what they can take away from what they see, and things that they need to adapt, and things that they need to work on when they work with their teams as coaches. So it's, as I said, it's always an opportunity to develop individuals, and I think always around the events is fantastic. I have another video to share.
Sorprendido el nivel de los instructores. Quizá yo tenga poca experiencia en ese aspecto, y sobre todo cómo transmiten, cómo se integran, cómo reciben de las personas a las cuales tienen que enseñar a ser futuros entrenadores, y esto es muy importante de cara al futuro también, ¿no?
For me, it's very important all knowledge that we receive from the material FIFA, from the attitude, the concepts, technical, tactical concepts, and the other ones that we try to improve to apply to beach soccer. It's a new sport, we know it, but we try to push our better to develop it.
I think the thing for me is to see just how much the game has evolved over the last 5 or 10 years. To be amongst the experts of the game. We're a long way away in Oceania, and to be able to come here and see the guys that have worked at the top level for a long, long time and learn from them has been really invaluable.
So that was just one example of us in we were in Dubai and conducting an instructor seminar, and yeah, some information coming out from the instructors, which was quite positive, and they're taking a lot of information out of what we did there in Dubai. So yeah, great again and fantastic. And so we have the legacy program. Again, this is, as I said, around the host country. So this is just some impressions. Again, the legacy program, again, is a lot to do with the grassroots activities. And this is a photo of us where we split, the pitch into maybe, let's say, 8 different sections, and we were able to do various activities with the kids over a period of time. Yeah, the kids had lots of fun, and it was very, very challenging, but very fulfilling in the end for them, because it really, as I said before, left them with lasting experiences. And then this was a project that we implemented in the association afterwards. So, and this is just the final photo with all the kids together. And yeah, it was just a wonderful experience. And I think all concerned had a fantastic time. And the kids, as I said again, enjoy this activity. And it's always fantastic to do it around the events. So I think in order to allow for some questions, I would like to open the floor. I would like to thank you for your time, for all your attention. I know it's quite long, but I hope it was insightful, and you had the opportunity to get information about the development of both futsal and beach on a bit of an overview. Obviously, I could have gone into a lot more detailed information, but given the time, I tried to just give a quick overview of some of the main areas that I've worked in and the work that I'm doing now as a consultant. So if there's any questions, I can open the floor for questions.
Mr. Rahim?
Yeah.
Good afternoon to everyone, and good afternoon to you, and congratulations on this presentation. I'm somewhat very intrigued by the work, especially particularly the legacy programs that your business, representing these countries. I would like to find out from you, what are some of the strategies you use to get government or political affiliation involved in these legacy programs? Also, is it, what are some of the things if it's infrastructure wise, what are some of the things they assisted in being part of these legacy programs? Can you share with us more information on that?
Thank you for your question. What I can say, obviously a lot of the work that I did was very much on the development side. So it was a lot to do with development activities, a little around the events, but not directly in the competitions itself. But yeah, obviously some work with the competition activities. But my understanding, and I can give you from some of the former colleagues in the competitions department, obviously, yes. When you decide that you present a project for instance, to host a World Cup, clearly there are obviously some requirements that you obviously need to in the bidding process. For FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup as an example, there will be regulations as to infrastructure that would need to be in place, in general information that they need to understand that the infrastructure is ready for this particular event. And clearly, yes, the government is to some degree is involved, and this has to be, this is then presented as a project, together. So the development work can be done, as I said, in cooperation, and I've done a lot of work in cooperation with government. So effectively, beach soccer, futsal, sport in general, as you know, for young people is a fantastic opportunity for them to, to have an avenue and to not only for sport, but for their lives. As I said in one of my slides, that this is helping them get, attain qualities that they can use for their lives, And I think governments, if you look at also from a health perspective, in many parts of the world, there's lots of obesity among young people. And this is a big problem. And sport is clearly an opportunity to address these issues. So, I mean, I think for most countries that want to organize these type of international tournaments, it is possible, and it's just about assessing whether they can then meet FIFA's or minimum requirements or in terms of hosting an event. And then the activities that I do, as a consultant, I can assist in the implementation of grassroots projects and long-term projects that can be sustainable. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Yes, you did. I mean, you touched on some points which is very integral for nation building, character building, which is important, and perhaps going through the young people. But I think I'm just trying to figure out how best, because I think sometimes with government entities, they don't see it that way. And I would like to know perhaps what, I mean, you just mentioned to me, I mean, ways how you could get them to try to persuade them, but somewhat it could be like something, they can be like a rock sometimes, and that is something you may have the enthusiasm, clearly you have the enthusiasm, but sometimes they don't get it. And this is what I'm trying to figure out. What are some of the things that you, I mean, when you're going forward with them or trying to, you're pitching to them, what are some of the things you try to utilize? Like you mentioned some of the things there, but I don't know, some people might have the golden tongue, but sometimes they just don't get it, So,
No, I understand. I think it's, I mean, just to be sharp on it. I mean, in the end, I mean, you have to be persuasive and you have to effectively understand that, maybe they don't understand it, but you present your plan as convincing as possible, but also, as I did with the presentation, looking at trying to use real statistics, real numbers, and showing maybe, comparisons to other parts of the world where it's been done and the positive effects that they've gotten by doing it. But I believe that, you can use data and information that really shows, because you can't, the data doesn't lie, so to speak, right? So if you present it in a good way and it's convincing enough, then I think possibly you will get the positive responses, because in the end, you've done your research and you'll be able to present it in a convincing way.
Thank you, Brent. I think we have Lincoln, who is coming up next.
Okay.
Hi, pleasant. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon. Lincoln, yes, we're hearing you.
Thank you. Apologies for coming on a little late, but also I must say a good presentation. And one of the things that we should be aware of is, the Caribbean and culture and, what the Caribbean people kind of hold fast to. I'm not a football coach, so in no way I'm trying to advocate anything in reference to that, but how does it match up making a smaller version of the game as opposed to that 11 aside? No, you have to bring that idea and that tool to get that buying bargain process, because now you have parents where they will actually put their child into this camp, a football club or camp, so that their child might be able to get one scholarship or maybe able to go onto the international stage. How do we try to mitigate or try to get parents now to buy into that bargain process? Because they will look at this investment for their child, and college is one of the big stepping stones for them, and then maybe a college or even a contract. So how could we get that buying bargain process?
Well, yeah, I understand totally because I went through the same process, going on to college, university as well. I mean, it was an important step for me as a footballer to have the chance to play in the US. And this is always, my parents as well was quite big on me trying to get an education and also balancing football as well. Clearly, this is clear. It was a good decision. But I also think that as I explained before, the sport is there. Futsal and beach also is there, as I said, as a tool for development. So, I mean, if I know that my child can develop and become a better player, a better footballer by playing futsal, by playing beach soccer, I would say, yeah, I would let my child play because I know it gives him that much more of a chance of getting an opportunity to go on and play football at a competitive level, maybe getting a scholarship, as you were saying. So I think it is, as I said, in the presentation, we have to look at it as not football against futsal or football against beach soccer. These are integrated modalities, and effectively they can be used as tools to make players better. So I think if a lot of parents, I mean, I am a parent, and if I know that my son can get better, I would put him in it because I know he'll have the opportunity to get better and get a scholarship if he wants to. If it's to go and play football, fine. If he wants to stay in futsal, he stays in futsal. If he wants to stay in beach, he stays in beach. So it's giving options, and I think this is the important point.
Thank you very much. Just one more follow-up. Is it kind of introduced at the college level or anything like that? So even if it is that the person is pursuing beach football or futsal, maybe they can say this is a pathway. Is FIFA having any discussions with colleges in terms of having that a part of their module?
I missed you. So can you repeat it one more time? I missed who is that?
Lincoln, this is Lincoln. I just have a follow-up question. As you were saying, give them the opportunity to choose. But if they happen to choose, is FIFA having any discussions with colleges and stuff to have it as a model in school that have that option also? Okay,
understand. Well, I mean, I can't really speak for FIFA in that sense. I mean, I think that there are projects like there's football in schools, which is a project that they're rolling out at the moment. But the modalities, this is still, I suppose it's still an open door that this can also be implemented. It's something that, I have, I'm doing myself as an independent consultant, that I think futsal in schools is important, and it's as I said again, it's a way of development, and as a way of introducing the kids to another modality, which effectively will then help them in the whole process, whether, as I said, football, futsal, beach, whatever. So I see it from my perspective is fundamental. Whether that is then taken, a decision is taken at a higher level that this needs to be, it's an important area that needs to be addressed. Then it's a decision that they have to take. But I'm not aware of them taking that decision at the moment. I think the focus is a bit more on football in schools, and possibly they will have other levels where it can then get to futsal and beach, but this is still probably maybe a discussion that needs to be brought to the table.
So
thank you. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
So on that note, I want to say thank you very much, Brent, for an amazing presentation. You could go ahead and close off the screen. So on behalf of UWI, Faculty of Social Sciences, Department of Management Studies, Ms. Kalicia Gregoire, who continues to do an exceptional job to bring this together, Ms. Shilon Cabrales, who is not here at the moment, but always present to make things happen. We want to say thank you very much to you, Mr. Rahim, and us at CIES for such an enlightening conversation and discussion when it comes to futsal and beach soccer. To all the participants who have graced us with your presence, thank you very much. With that being said, I must recognize Mr. Kylie Kwai, President of the Beach Soccer Association of Trinidad and Tobago. He is on, as well as Ms. Itanya Wiggins of the Caribbean Association of National Olympic Committees, who is the host of the Caribbean Games to be held in Guadeloupe, where futsal will be featured for under 20 players. I want to say thank you very much, guys, for being a part of it. With that being said, Mr. Brent Rahim, son of the soil, as you see, has 20 years experience. Where did that come from? As he mentioned before, one of his tertiary education is the FIFA Master, also known as the International Masters in the Humanities, Business and Law of Sport. And I'm proud to say that Trinidad and Tobago has the most amount of graduates from that prestigious program. I am one of those. Where did I start? I started at the UWI FIFA CIES International Postgraduate Diploma, which is held, a blended program held right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Notably, we have persons such as Kaká, who have graduated in the same program in Brazil. Mr. Kenwin Jones, present head coach of the women's national football team. Why am I saying all this, guys? I would like you all to take this opportunity to be able to register with the UWI FIFA CIES program. And you can do that by getting in contact with Ms. Calicia Gregoire, and her number is 748-9888. That's 748-9888. You will learn the business of sport with topics such as management in sport, human resource management, sports finance, events management in sports, sports marketing, law and sports, communication in sports, and sports facilities management. Very topical, very important topics to be able to get you, as Brent says, break in the local, regional, and international environments of sport. So he is a product of education, and I take this opportunity to sell our program. Again, the UWI FIFA CIES International Postgrad Diploma in Sports Management. So for all, please get in contact with Ms. Gregoire, 748-9888. You are here, Champions Leagues have started, but you're here for a purpose. Please, I ask you all to really and truly take the time to do such blended program. I'm wishing you all the best for the future. And this recorded session will be on the Faculty of Social Sciences YouTube channel. Brent, again, thank you very much. Hope to see you soon, both in terms of beach soccer and futsal. I hear you're a consultant now. It looked like Cal and I have to bring you down for some work. And to all the questions that you have when it comes to beach soccer and futsal, check BSAT on social media, and also Futsal 868. We can be contacted and answer all your questions when it comes to both modalities in the Twin Island state of Trinidad and Tobago. And we look forward to serving you. Again, have a blessed one. We look forward to you contacting Ms. Gregoire, the UWI FIFA CIES International Postgrad Diploma. Be blessed all.